In this lecture, we'll talk about LCM, lowest common multiple. In the previous lecture, we already discussed what common multiples are. And these are multiples of 7, these are multiples of 5. But if you look at these numbers, you find that of all the multiple of 5 and 7, the lowest among the common is what? 35. These are common, 35 and 70 and so on. But the lowest among them is 35. And this is easier because we are dealing with a simpler number here. But we need a method that can fit in for any kind of numbers, no matter how big they are. We don't have to continue to write out all the multiples before we can get where we are going. So we need a method that fits for all. So what do? It is a very, very simple method. So let's look at some examples. When we are looking for the common multiple of 5 and 7, all we have to do is make a table. You have 5, you have 7. Now, look at the prime factors you can use to divide all these numbers. If you want to divide it by 1, it will go, but we don't need 1 here because it won't make any change. 2, it won't. None of it is divisible by 2. 3, impossible. Then the next prime factor is 5 itself. So divide this by 5 to give you 1. So since 5 cannot divide this, we'll bring it down. That is the rule of the game. So we don't need anything to do with 1 again. We have 7, and 7 itself is a prime number. We just say 7. We have 1, 1. So our lowest common multiple would be the multiple of anything you have here, which is 5 times 7, and that is what? 35. Let's look at some other example, like 20 and 35. If you look at this, you can see that this is divisible by 2. So you use 2 to divide. Since 2 is the smallest of all prime numbers that can divide any of these two. So now let's divide. We have 10. And here we bring down the 35 because it can be divided by 2. So we have another division here, 2. We have 5. And we still have 35. So if you look at this number, which is the smallest? Because 3 would not divide any of these two. So the smallest prime number that can divide any of these two is what? 5. You have 1 and you have 7. So here you divide by 7, you have 1 and 1. It's as simple as that. So let's just multiply all these together. We have 2 times 2 times 5 times 7. So 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 5 is 20. 20 times 7 is 140. So that is our lowest common multiple. Let's try another example. Because it does not have to be 2 numbers. We can look for the lowest common multiple of more than 2 numbers. Maybe 3 numbers or 4 numbers and so on. So let's try 4. We can have 72. We can have 96. We can have 80, and we can also have 120. Now let's look at the common multiple of all these numbers. All of these numbers are divisible by 2. So let's go with 2 first. 2. This would give us 36. 2 divided by 7 divided by 2 is 3, remainder 1. And 12 divided by 2 is 6. And here we have 40. Here we have 4, and bring 1 here, we have 8, 48. And here we have 60. We can still divide it by 2 again. Here we have 18. We have 20. We have 24. And we have 30. You can still go with 2. We have 9. We have 10. We have 12. And we have 15. This can be divided by 2. This also can be divided by 2. but these two can divide by 2, so we can still take another step with 2. Here we bring down the 9. We can divide this by 2. We have 5. These we have 6, and this will bring down the 15. Now this can be divided by 2. We have to make sure that we use all the 2 up before we go to any other number. Now this is 9, this is 5, this is 3, and this is 15. So apart from 2, we can see a number that can be divided by 3 here, so which is 3 itself, 9 and 15. So let's go. 3, we have 3, we have 5, we have 1, we have 5. So we can still see 3 here. Let's go with 3 again. We have 3 here, we have 1, we have our 5, 1, and we have our 5. So you can go with 5, and that is 1, 1, 1, 1. So to know the LCM of these numbers, all you have to do is multiply all these numbers together. So let's write it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 2 in 5 places. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 5. So let's start from the back. You can start from the front. I just wish to start from the back. So 5 times 3, that is 15, times 3 is 45. Then we have 90, we have 180, 360, 720, and 1440. 1440. That's it. So you can pick up some questions and practice them. You can also practice this question you're seeing on the screen. It will help you a lot. Thanks for watching.